Hello and welcome to the Philippines. This has been a very busy last few days. Sinulog Festival, huge Sinulog Festival here in Cebu City area. Lots of different events. You can't get to all of them. And this is walking out. This was the Fluvial Parade. I put that video up, and we're walking out of that area. Didn't really last that long. Getting set up took much longer than the actual parade once they headed out. All those boats, hundreds of boats, and this is life in this is Philippine life, Philippine culture. And we walked back. We thought we were going to go up on top of that bridge, the old bridge going over to Mactan Island, and watch the fluvial procession from there. But the bridge was closed and nobody was allowed up there. So we followed some people down through kind of an industrial and housing area. Way at the end, I think was, I don't know if this is really called a squatter village where people build their houses where they don't own the land or not. I don't know who the land owns belongs to, but it is a poor area. And then you have all those houses over there that are built. And there again, I'm always interested in the logistics. How does a guy figure out how does a guy build that house and drive those posts down far enough into the mud and earth to give you a solid foundation? If any of you know how they do that, because they don't have these major cranes. And here we have some pigeons out here. When I was a kid living on the farm, we had a big two-story wooden barn, and pigeons like to come in that second story windows and nest in there. And anyway, me and the neighbor kid, we devised a system. We took some gunny sacks, some old feed sacks, and we rolled them up around a 2x4, and we tied them up above the windows where they would fly in. And then we had a string, a piece of twine, long twine, and we could come in there and we could pull that and release it. It would drop down over the windows so that the pigeons couldn't get out. We devised a long pole with a net on it, a couple of those, and we would occasionally have some luck catching a couple pigeons. And then we built cages, and we had what they had here. We had but bigger cages than they had. But it seemed that they didn't last long. It seemed that we would come to check and feed the pigeons, and all we would see was some feathers. And took me. We always assumed. I think my father said, "Oh, the cats are getting them. You can't keep them. You can't keep them there." So either my father was letting them go, I'm pretty sure, because there was no carcass, there were no bones left, and that the cage material we used, the wire, was not big enough for a cat to pull a complete a pigeon out of the cage. So either my father was letting them go, which on second thought probably wasn't very likely. He probably killed the pigeons and discarded them instead. But just dawned on me now, so many years later, that I always thought he let them go, but I think he probably killed them because he didn't really care for pigeons that much. Anyway, the big old bridge. This is the big bridge that we're walking under, what they call the old bridge, the first bridge that went from Cebu City, Mandaue City, over to Mactan Island, 2-lane bridge. And my girlfriend said, "Let's go this way out to the main road and get a taxi." And I said, No. There's too much to see down here. I want to take some video. Many of you know, I like to walk, and I like to experience Philippine culture and many different cultures if I'm in other countries, other areas. But the best way to do that is just take a walk. And a different areas, some people will say, "Oh, sir, it's not safe to go into those areas." But I've never had any trouble. Maybe I've been extremely lucky. Um, One advice I'm going to give to everybody. I've had a couple people comment, I'm always talking about the friendly Filipinos, and occasionally I get a comment say, Hey, I didn't meet any friendly Filipinos." Well, you need to. One very important thing is you can you can start the process yourself. Smile, smile, smile every time you meet somebody. Say hello, good morning, good afternoon. And they don't know who you are. They don't know what you're doing, why you're in these different areas. And I have found that, in fact, Filipinos that are with me, they think it's funny that I talk to so many people, say hello to almost everybody. And 95% of the time, they smile back and they respond. Good morning, good afternoon. And they're interested in you. So anyway, take the initiative and break the ice. Help break down the defenses, because, like I say, you are a foreigner. You're a minority, and you're oftentimes in an area where they don't see a lot of foreigners. They don't know if you're a good person, a bad person, or a neutral person, I guess. Anyway, they had a number of events going on here. Every barangay gets involved with its own celebrations of not only their own, they have their own festivals, each barangay in town, but for Sinulog here, they each have, like they have a bunch of kids out here marching down the street, playing their Sinulog songs, I guess. And many of these people have quite good English, are very comfortable speaking in English. In fact, many of them know three languages, Tagalog or Taglish, which is Tagalog and English combined. Their local dialect, which is here, their local language, which is Bisaya, and English. And if they use English, they're more comfortable using it. Oftentimes, one or two people in the family are much more comfortable than the rest of the family using English, and most families do not speak English on a regular basis at home, is what I keep hearing. English is becoming more and more an international language. Even Japanese corporations, some Japanese corporations, French corporations, I read a while back, they're doing all of their corporate meetings, their company meetings in English, which I suspect many of the Japanese, it's funny, there's some videos online of Japanese trying to learn English, and they have a hard time with some of the sounds. Similar to what I have here in the Philippines. My brain and my tongue do not coordinate very well in trying to get my tongue to first hear the sound properly, and then to get my tongue to make that different sound that it hasn't made all of its life. I actually did not want to go to this, to get up at about 4:30 in the morning and find a ride. We were very lucky to get a grab car right away almost, and to come over here so early in the morning to watch some boats go down the Mactan Channel. But and then we went to a little parade ceremony after that, and I generally do all this stuff on my own over the years and never had anybody else with me most of the time. Uh, and when you have somebody with you, you need to be you need to be a little more organized than what I normally am. I normally just show up at places and get in the middle of stuff and start taking some video. And when you have one or two other people with you, it's like, okay, well, now I need to think more about what we're doing, when we're going to do it, and all that type of thing. But I am glad that she convinced me to go out and see all this. And, the journey is often even more interesting than the final destination, like the Fluvial Parade. This part, walking through the Philippine areas, was even more interesting than the Fluvial Parade to me, to see the culture, to interact with the Filipinos. And what I'm going to be doing over the next few days, I have a long list of topics that I want to cover about living in the Philippines, about the logistics and those types of things. I have additional condo videos that I've taken videos of. I have lots of those types of videos. But I've also gone to several Sinulog events, and I'm going to intersperse some of those videos in amongst that. And I know generally like the Fluvial Parade, generally maybe I average, well, it really varies by the topic, but let's just say in one day I often get 2,000 views. Well, that still, like two or 3 days later, that's still at about 900 views. So these types of videos don't get that much in the way of viewership, but I have the videos, and I will do my regular type of videos, but I will intersperse those in, and I understand some people don't want to watch those. But anyway, one thing about traveling into an area when there's a festival, you will find that usually hotel rates go up substantially during those periods of time. Got one guy in town I met, and he said he was having a hard time finding. He had one room for 3 days, and he kept checking. He said a lot of places wanted 10,000 pesos a night during the Sinulog festival. And so he was having to do a lot of work to find cheaper places. And there were a few. Hotels. The Hotel Association was complaining that their bookings were not as high this year, and they blamed it on Airbnb. So it says something about the vacancy rate. And yet I stopped in a few hotels to ask them about that, and everyone I didn't stop in a lot, but each one said that they were fully booked. So, but we may be getting to that point, and we have other condos and hotels opening up in the next year and two, and at that point in time, I think we will have a good balance, a good supply and demand balance, and for big festivals like this. Of course, when there isn't an event going on in town, then the vacancy rate goes down. That's just the nature of the hotel and Airbnb business. You will also find many people every place you go, virtually. I think they expected close to 3 million people to be involved in these Sinulog events, and the solemn procession, watching the parades, and that type of thing. And that's a lot of people. Now, a lot of those people are local people, but a percentage, a lot of those people come from out of town, from different provinces, from different countries even, Filipinos coming in from the various countries. Lots of security you see all over. They brought in 2,000 or more extra security people. They've got the Navy, the Navy, Army, the Philippine police, local police, TANADs, who are the local, the barangay village enforcement people, and just people everywhere. And sometimes that can get a bit hectic, to say the least. And we had planned on going home, but the taxi driver told us that she asked them if anything going on. And they said, yeah, there's a big kind of the start of a parade and everything going on down by Pier 1, down by Plaza Independencia, down by Colon Street. So we went over there and watched some of that, and kind of amazed some of the people. They just pushed their way through the line, the viewing area, to get in the front of the line. Very rude behavior. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Safe travels to you all wherever you are, and I continue to enjoy the friendly, helpful Filipino people every place that I go. So anyway, safe travels. We'll see you next time.